Yes, I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine, Darlene.
Okay, we are all set.
So we're live.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I would like to call the ad hoc committee to discuss the superintendent search to order. It's 11:30 on February 28th, 2023. This meeting is being provided in person via Zoom and live streamed on CCSD's YouTube channel. I guess the first thing is to everybody's been provided a copy of the agenda, so we would probably need a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion? Excellent.
Oh, Keith just dropped off. Well, I'll second your motion there, Miss Roberson. I think we got to wait for our chair to come back.
I'll let you know as soon as he re-enters.
Thanks.
Is everything on Zoom? Yes, but we are live and we speaking through Zoom to members group. Who is that? Mr. Grabowski dropped off the Zoom accidentally, so we're waiting on him to re-enter. Put it on manually. I have a scoreboard that you can access. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that.
I'm all bluey and pinky. What'd you say?
I'm just gonna mute our room temporarily until I see Mr. Grabowski come back in.
I couldn't.
Hey, Maggie. Keith said that he got bounced out of the meeting and he cannot join back in because he doesn't have the link working. Can can you send it directly to him so he can join back in? And also Miss Waters, she's having the same trouble.
Yes, Ms. Waters is joining now. Let me email him the link again to get him back in.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, Courtney's on. Keith and Maggie's gonna send.
I was just on the phone with Keith. I know he got bounced out.
Yeah, he just called me as well. Maggie is sending him a direct link so he can get in like the regular Zoom and not Word docs or something, I guess.
Here he is. He's re-entering right now.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So we can move forward. I see that Courtney's on, Darlene's on, Ed's on, Pam's on. Great. Basically, the purpose of this meeting was to just give an update of how the committee or where the committee is, some of the conversations that I've had with the past groups, and then more importantly, the next steps to take. I've talked with all of the groups that presented, Greenwald, Asher and Associates, Hazard, Young, Aetna and Associates, Ray and Associates, and also with Scott Price of the South Carolina School Board Association. All of them had said they would love to present and would be capable of presenting within the next 2 weeks, depending on what the board would like to do. Most of them would like to do it virtually. So that is the status. Also, they said they were all very confident that this is a very good market at the moment, and that should we proceed, that they all felt confident that we would have sufficient candidates to have someone start by July 1st. So that is the update on my side of it. Since Courtney, since you had the most experience with this, I would look for your, direction or comments on, how we should proceed.
Hey, Keith, before we do that, while the technical problems are happening, so Ms. Roberson made the motion to adopt the agenda. I seconded it. It would be proper
Okay.
just to take a quick vote to before we move into the agenda, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So I'll start.
We're gonna have to, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna do this by voice vote?
You're okay with-
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go, Keith. I don't know if you can see Darlene, but you got unanimous consent.
Okay, good. So I think before we, set any motions, I think we should really have some discussion as to what the best thing for the next step. And I would look to Courtney for some advice or some of her opinions on this.
Sure, Keith. I mean, and I think the list you gave is absolutely right. I mean, it kind of continues the work we were doing before. All three that you mentioned were ones we were going to recommend moving forward with a more with heavier consideration. We had narrowed that down from a list of, I think, 6 or 7. And so them plus South Carolina School Boards Association seems right to me. I think we just need to get Trudy's office to coordinate with them to find a day. I would suggest doing it all in one day just to make this easier on scheduling. We did 25 minutes. That was more than enough for them to do about a 15-minute presentation, and then we did 10 minutes of questions. So with it only being 4, we could be in and out of there, in 2 hours. So we need just a 2-hour block in the next couple of weeks. And all board members did participate in those. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot if those are the 4 everybody agrees to consider.
Because all of them said the same thing, that we really need to get this done, get this movement. They've all got a lot of candidates. A lot of them are already working with local school districts, Savannah, Charlotte, Mecklenburg. So there's been an awful lot of interest in the Southeast. So I think we're going to get a good pool, but they need to get going. So now I think the next question comes down before we, I would assume that we would do we need a motion to direct for a special meeting, or is this just something that we, Courtney, in your past experience, we just go ahead and set a meeting and advise all board members of the meeting?
Yeah, and it's not really a special meeting. It's kind of the same way the workshop happened, as long as it's noticed, since we'll all be on. The only other thing I would add, though, is that we really need to do community engagement. And I realize that firms do that, but it's not really best practice for the firms to do that. It's really a good practice that boards are involved and actually hear firsthand from the community. We can do that alongside, but it is a lengthy process, and it does take a major lift from the communications folks who helped us with that last time. And so I think it would be good to authorize, at least in the next board meeting, to talk about going ahead and authorizing community engagement to go forward. The best thing would have been to do it before we got started, to build a profile that folks could use. But I know firms can also use a generic application, and then we can apply the community concerns to the rubric and the interview process, but still want to make sure we lift that up for the benefit of staff who's going to have to help us coordinate community engagement.
And I think that's smart, because every one of them talked about community engagement and how that would slow the process down. So I think by us doing it as a separate element, I think that's smart. And I would agree with you. So I think it needs to be taken up at Cal so we can move quickly with that as, an item to discuss and get in everybody's opinion, then move forward on the at the next board meeting. But I think what's more important is to get this group hired as quickly as possible. So to set the meeting up with Trudy within the next 2 weeks, because all the groups said they could have materials to us within they needed at least 10 days to update. And the nice thing about it was you already had one meeting, so they know the concerns of the board that were raised, so they can address those concerns in their presentations and their updates. So I think we should move forward. So whatever steps, Courtney, you think we need to take, let's agree to it and move forward and end this meeting.
You guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Sure.
I don't think that we should go past March 13th. That's like 2 weeks. And since we've already have March 13th marked on our calendars for Cal, we have 2 days of a month already marked, the second Monday and the fourth Monday. Why don't we have the presentations on the 13th, and then we'll all be together. And then we could just lead from the meeting into our Cal meeting.
I'm fine with that. Any objections to that? Then I think that's the date.
But Keith, I do think just for formality's sake, we should make a motion to approve those, was it 4 or 5 vendors to come do presentations to the ad hoc? That way that we have a consensus vote, and then we can, after those presentations, we can make a motion to bring the ones that we want, the committee agrees to the larger board, just for the sake of formality and recording the minutes of the ad hoc meeting, ad hoc committee.
Are we adding too many steps into this? I think it'd be easier just to have all the presentations in front of the full board before Cal and get it over and done with.
I mean, you are chair, so you can, I think, make that decision, but I believe the intent of the ad hoc committee was to narrow down the presentations from the vendors to the top few, however many we decide. But but I would defer to the group. I don't have a burning desire either way, but I think that was kind of part of the intent of the ad hoc committee.
What, Courtney, do you have any position on that? I mean, is there any reason why we can't have these presentations presented to the whole board right before, during the cow and then move forward from that point on?
Yeah, the two things I would say is I think it would be good to just take them to the cow only because these meetings are open to the public and any board member could join anyway. So at any moment, a board member could be invited into this conversation. So I would just think for succinctness sake, that we just have them at the cow and allow the board to lean in from the start. Especially because 4 is a relatively small number. I mean, if we had 10, I would certainly say let's meet before, but with 4, I think it'd be probably good to just move on.
Yep, no objection.
I agree. I agree.
I agree.
So the motion for consideration would be that we would invite the 4 search firms, Greenwald, Asher and Associates, Hazard, Young, Etna and Associates, and Ray and Associates, and the South Carolina School Board Association to present in slots of 25 minutes, and they can do it virtually or in person at the next upcoming CAL meeting of the board.
And just one question about, or maybe just a recommendation, that those not start at 5 o'clock.
I was going to say the same thing. When you say
Yes,
at
me too.
cow, I think Darlene's point was to do
Prior.
it at 3 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we would, that I stand corrected. We would do it at 3 o'clock then. Excellent. So do you want me to restate the motion and then
I so move, Keith.
so move? Thank you. Then we should vote. Do I have a vote on the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Just
So the motion passes unanimously.
I do think we need a second on that, but I vote in favor as well.
Then I think we have it. Then we will have I will advise all the 4 groups that we just discussed that they can present at 3 o'clock on March 13th for periods of 25 minutes, and that we'll work with staff in arranging the presentations. And as part of it, that they will be providing us with documentation.
Keith, was that in response to Carol's question? She asked if we could get some materials in advance.
Yeah, Carol, you're muted. Yes.
I just, thank you. I just stayed muted because it's your ad hoc committee meeting, so I didn't.
Your board member.
Thank you.
Yes, that was part of the discussion with the groups, and Trudy will arrange it, is that's why they had asked for at least 10 days so that they could update and have all the information provided to us before March 13th. So that would be part of the provisions as them presenting. Do we have any further discussion or need for any further business?
I move we adjourn.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank y'all.
Your voice
see
is
you guys.
sounding better. Thank you, Carol, for attending, and Pam. And we will move forward. Excellent. And I'll discuss with Trudy and get this done.
Thanks so much.